When I moved to Maryland from the West Coast, nobody warned me about the summers. So, if you're moving to Maryland from out of state or from another country, this video is the one I wish I had found before I packed my boxes. I'm going to walk you through all 4 seasons, the real feels like temperatures, the things that genuinely surprise me, and that you actually need to prepare for before you get here. So, if you're new here, my name is Larizza Viado and I am a Maryland Realtor. And I relocated here myself from the West Coast, so I know firsthand what it feels like to move across the country and try to figure out which town is actually right for you. That's exactly what this channel is for: the real, the unfiltered, local insider truth about living in and moving to this state. And today's video is a personal one because the weather is one of the biggest adjustments I had to make when I got here. So let's go season by season. Let's start with the summer because this is what catches out-of-state movers most off guard. And I wanted to be real with you because nobody was real with me before I moved here. When I was in the West Coast, I thought I knew heat. I have been to Arizona. I knew what 110 degrees feel like, even 120 degrees. Yes, it's extreme heat. But here's the thing about that kind of heat. It is dry. You step outside in Arizona and it's like opening a hot oven. It is intense, but your sweat actually evaporates. Your body can cool itself down, you drink water, you find shade, and you manage. Maryland heat is a completely different experience. The thermometer might only say 90 degrees, but the humidity changes everything. When it's 90 degrees in Maryland with 80% humidity, your body cannot cool itself the same way because the moisture in the air has nowhere to go. Your sweat just sits on your skin, the air feels thick and heavy. It genuinely feels like you're walking through a warm, wet blanket the moment you step outside. The heat index, which is like the feel like temperature, regularly hits about 100 to 103 degrees, and on some days a little higher. And here's one thing Arizona actually has over Maryland in the summer. The nights in Arizona, once the sun goes down, the temperature drops. Nights here stays warm and humid well into the evening. You can have a low of 75 degrees at midnight with the humidity still sitting high. But with that said, Maryland does have something that Arizona just simply do not have: a breeze. Because Maryland sits between the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic coast, you do get actual moving air on a lot of summer days, especially in the morning and evening hours. That bay breeze is real, and on the right day, it makes 90 degrees afternoon feel completely manageable. Arizona dry heat at 110 degrees with no wind is suffocating in a different way. Maryland humid heat with a breeze coming off the water is intense, but there are moments where the air actually moves and you feel it. So it's not a clean win on either side. Arizona gives you the cooler nights, Maryland gives you the breeze and greenery and the smell of summer rain after a thunderstorm, which is something I genuinely did not know I would love until I experienced it here. So here's my honest advice. Central air conditioning is not a luxury here, it's essential. So when you are buying a home here in Maryland or renting, make sure to ask the age and the condition of the HVAC system on day one. You will be running it hard from June through September and budget for a higher electricity bill in the summer than you are probably used to. The mosquitoes are also no joke, especially near any water. If outdoor space matters to you, factor that in as well. Maryland fall is genuinely one of the best things living in this state. And I say that as a person who grew up in the West Coast, where fall doesn't really exist as a real season. From the late September through November, temperature drops into the 50s and 60s. The humidity breaks and the leaves across the state turns into something that looks like a painting. Maryland has mountains in the west, forests in the suburbs, and Chesapeake Bay along the eastern edge. All of it is beautiful in October, and there is something about walking outside with actual fall leaves falling around you that still amazes me. September still feels like summer, so don't pack away your shorts yet. But by mid-October, you are in a perfect weather territory. Cool mornings, warm afternoons, low humidity, blue skies. This is the season that makes anyone who moved here cannot imagine living anywhere else. Maryland winters are not brutal by Midwest and New England standards. January temperatures ranges about mid-20s to mid-40s Fahrenheit. So you're getting real cold, real frost, real frozen pipes if you're not careful. But you're not looking at the kind of winters that shut down entire cities for weeks. What Maryland does get and catches people off guard is the ice storms. Sometimes, instead of snow, the mid-Atlantic gets freezing rain that coats every road and sidewalks in a sheet of ice overnight. These events are less common than snow, but they are more disruptive because nothing moves well on ice. School closes, road shuts down, and if you're relocating from a place that does not deal with winter weather at all, your first ice storm is going to feel intense. Snow is real but variable depending on where in Maryland you land. The DC and Baltimore suburbs typically get 10 to 20 inches of snow per year, spread across few storms. Western Maryland near the mountains gets significantly more, sometimes about 20 to 40 inches. The eastern shore closer to the coast gets less. Here is one thing that works actually in your favor. Maryland snow actually melts a lot faster than other snowy states. We are not far enough north or high enough in elevation for snow to stick around for weeks the way it does in other places like the Midwest or New England. A few inches on the ground will usually be gone within a couple of days once the sun comes back out. So you are not stuck looking at a gray slush for a month straight. What I tell people relocating is this: get yourself a good winter coat, not a light jacket. Get boots with actual grip, and if you're buying a home, find out if the driveway is on a slope because an icy slope driveway in January is not fun at all. And spring runs from March to May, and it's the most unpredictable out of the four. One week you're in a winter coat, and then the next week it's 75 degrees and sunny. March can feel like January, April can feel like June, and May thunderstorms are common. Temperatures during spring ranges anywhere from the low 40s all the way up to the mid 70s, and genuinely never know which one you're getting on any given day. But here's why spring is worth it. After Maryland winter, watching everything bloom is something beautiful. The cherry blossom near DC are world famous for a reason. The dogwood trees across Maryland neighborhoods come alive in April, and that first warm weekend in May where you can finally sit outside without a coat feels like the best day of the year. Spring in Maryland also brings allergy season. If you have a seasonal allergies, talk to your doctor before you move here and make sure you have a plan. Pollen levels in Maryland from March through May can be intense, especially in wooded suburban areas. So here is my honest overall take in the Maryland weather as someone who relocated from the West Coast. The summer took the longest for me to adjust to. They are real and they are humid, and you need to respect them. The winters are manageable, but they require preparation, especially if you're coming from a warm climate. And the falls and springs are genuinely beautiful in a way that the West Coast does not really offer. And here's a quick tip from a realtor. If you're buying a home in Maryland, think about weather in every room. Does the house have good insulation for winter? Is the HVAC system current or properly sized for the summer? Is there a covered outdoor space so you can actually enjoy spring and fall without battling the elements? These are questions I ask with every relocation buyer I work with. Quick reminder, my name is Larizza Viado and I am a Maryland Realtor. And knowing exactly when to visit, what a place actually feels like month to month, that's exactly the kind of thing I walk people through in my free Maryland relocation roadmap. Links is in the description. Bye.